Hey, how about them tops, son?
All day, SEC boys. SEC, they supposed to be SEC. Crazy all day, baby.
You're listening to the RedOUT podcast. Everybody, thanks for tuning in to another RedOUT podcast. Jared here again tonight, filling in for Devin. Of course, he's on baby watch. I haven't heard anything up to this point, but praying that everything goes well for him and Kara and the baby. Hope it's a safe delivery and everything. Everybody stays healthy. So definitely thinking about you, Devin. I don't know if you'll be on here tonight. Probably not. We might have some slim pickings. I know Alex, he's going to be joining us here tonight. Jake, he said that he's going to be a game time decision. All right, looks like we got Alex already. You got me? Alex, you coming in?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, sounds good, man. How are you?
I'm good. I'm glad to be back on the podcast.
Yeah, welcome back. Welcome back.
Even though it's not really a welcome back, I kind of took like a short hiatus. Like, obviously, I'm still doing my thing here with the Towel Rack, just doing whatever I can. Life is somewhat getting busy at the moment, but other than that, I'm doing good. I'm just glad to be back on.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, that's how life is. I mean, I've taken some weeks off too, and it's good that we have enough people that we can rotate stuff. So that's definitely a good thing. So how's everything been for you? What you been up to?
Not much, man. Just doing a little bit of church choir. It's a new venture that I've been doing in the past month, which is going really well. Done some performances for my music persona, Flash Mystic, of course, and then just trying to grow closer to a lot of things and just keeping in the know, like keeping myself humble at the same time too. So it's a bit of a stretch, but you know, that's how life is. Like, we tend to have our own ventures, have our own things. It's just rising above certain situations and making the best of what you're given.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with that, man. So you have any winners and losers from this past week? We'll go ahead and go into that.
Sure. Yes. I was getting ready to ask how you're doing quickly. Like, how's everything been going for you?
I'm doing good. Just doing all sorts of random crap, trying to keep myself busy.
I feel that. I mean, the winners will, it's obviously with the recent events, it's been like a huge downer week. So I would try to give a positive winner and a positive loser, of course. Winners is, I would just go with, it's officially Super Bowl week. So yeah. That's a huge plus. I'm sad that my Titans are in it, but I'm just glad at the fact that we made it this far, considering the circumstances we were given in the beginning of the year. Of course, with the quarterback change with Mariota and Tannehill, and just, it's been a wild ride. Mm-hmm. It's been a wild ride for sure.
Yeah, just looking at the Titans and what they did in the playoffs, that definitely gives you a lot of hope moving into next season. And hopefully with the draft and free agency, you guys can add and not take away to what you guys had this year too, right?
Yes. And my losers will have to be, it's actually looking like winter weather for the first time this season. There's been some reports of snow, reports of sleet a little bit, the temperatures dropping down each day, but it perks back up. But I feel like we're going to make up for all that in February and March. Like, we're going to see like a huge snowstorm or two.
Yeah, thankfully over in Franklin where I'm at, it hasn't been too bad. It sleeted a little bit on Sunday when I was going to church, not a whole lot, but we've been spared as a whole. At least the southern part of Kentucky, like most of the area, South Central Kentucky, we've been pretty good, thankfully. So that definitely helps. I love snow, but I want it to come when I want it to. Do you understand? So, like,
yes.
if I got a lot of stuff going on, I don't want to have like 9 inches of snow or something like that. But if it's just like a chill day at home and everything, I would love to just kind of go for a walk in the woods right across from where I live at, and with snow and everywhere. It's pretty cool.
Right. I'm exactly the same way. Like, as long as I'm not doing anything productive, then I can actually enjoy snow. But if I have to go to work or just do something random like traveling in it, then it's a bit of a headache. Like, growing up in Western Kentucky, it's like I mean, Southern Kentucky, I kind of noticed that the accumulation just varies depending on where you're at, like Franklin or Russellville or Bowling Green. But I grew up in Mayfield, so pretty much wherever the body of water is, that's where you got the most snow, of course, with like tornadoes. And the county, which is Graves County, is just smack dab in the middle of everything. We're the only county in far west Kentucky that's actually not surrounded by a body of water. So it's kind of interesting.
Y'all are definitely in
Crazy.
interesting spot. Devin is in the house, man. Give us an update. We got a baby yet?
Hey!
Almost. We are completely dilated. What do you need? Sorry, my wife's asking for stuff. And,
whatever she asked for, just do it, man.
Oh,
Yes,
that's what I'm doing
Enjoy
right
the
now.
moment.
Yeah,
All
we
right,
are.
good.
She's completely dilated. We are 25 minutes out from actually trying to get the baby out, and I figured I'd be the crazy wild husband right now and call in on my own podcast and see how everything's going.
No, I mean this will be pretty cool though. I mean, just think when when she's going to be older and everything, she can go back and listen to this, and I think that would be kind of a cool memory to have. Be like, wow, my dad was doing a sports podcast literally while I was being born. That's cool, man. I'm glad you guys are doing good.
No. Yes. Everything's going good. Good luck tonight. I know everything's going to go great. I'm not worried about anything. I'm just doing a couple minutes here so I could check in with you all. Little Abby Ray should be born within the hour, and we'll see how everything goes. But
Awesome.
good luck. Yes. Thanks, guys. Appreciate y'all. And have a good night, all right? I'm going to get out of here.
For sure, man. Keep us posted.
All
I hope
right.
it
Yeah,
goes
keep
well.
us updated, man.
Of course I will. I'll let y'all know. See you. Bye.
All right,
All right, see ya.
Well, that's good. Live there from Devin at the hospital and everything. So major respect to him. But yeah,
Huge
definitely
dedication
hope-
right there.
Yeah, major dedication. As you can tell, Devin really cares about this podcast. So be sure you subscribe on Podbean, YouTube. I think it's on the iTunes podcast as well. So be sure you keep posted with RedOUT because he does such an awesome job. Great guy. And with my winners and losers, I guess I'll go into it. But talking NBA, there's a lot to talk about with that. But I have some winners. I do have some good news after everything that's happened this week, Alex. And my guy, Victor Oladipo, finally back. He is playing right now. The Pacers are playing the Chicago Bulls in Indianapolis right now. I'm wearing my
Nice.
Oladipo jersey and everything. I got that gold jersey, so representing him tonight. I'm glad he's finally healthy and able to play because I hated to see him go down last year about this time. He's been out for an entire year rehabbing his knee, and thankfully he's got to do some cool stuff. If you watch The Masked Singer this past season, he was on there as the thingamajig, and he actually went down to almost the final round. He was one of the last 5 people left. He's a great singer, so now everybody knows him as the thingamajig. He's had a good time off, but now it's time to hopefully get the Pacers to get something going before the playoffs, and then in the playoffs too, hopefully. So Victor Oladipo, glad he's healthy, very healthy. But I'll go ahead and transition into kind of the next thing we're talking about too, with my loser, and that's just kind of the whole world right now after losing Kobe Bryant and his daughter Gianna, as well as 7 others that were on that helicopter crash this past Sunday. It's just so crazy. It doesn't seem real to me at all, but man, I mean, it just makes you realize how short life is, and just to make sure that you care about your family the way that you should and your friends and just check up on them. I mean, it just shows how fragile we really are. Like, Alex, how did you find out about Kobe Bryant, and what was your initial reaction?
Jared, I'm literally still just processing this whole loss. Like, Sunday, I'll put it to you like this. Sunday, I was just napping the day away. Like, I had a long day, just doing some personal stuff. And then I have this weird thing where whenever I fall asleep, the most randomest things happen. And I woke up like maybe an hour after the news broke. It was like around 2:15 or something, because I was planning to wake up early to watch the Pro Bowl, but I ended up oversleeping a little bit. And I woke up to a bunch of missed calls, a bunch of missed text messages, Facebook messages, all that. Just majority of them being from my mom and dad. And I was just like, okay, something obviously is going on here, because they know my routine, which is kind of weird. They know my routine. Like, I take naps in the middle of the day on Sundays whenever there's no football going on. And I just got the text message saying that Kobe Bryant was killed in a helicopter crash, and it took me like 20 minutes to fully wake up and realize, hold on, like I didn't cry or like I was just frozen for like 20 minutes, and then first thing I did was get on Twitter, and then pretty much it was just true, and I literally was just shaking my head. Like I'm taking it harder as the week progresses than the initial news, just because in my mind I was like, okay, this has got to be a bad dream. This can't be real. Like, and it's the whole entire world is hurting right now, not from just like a sports standpoint, but just as a humanity. Like, just as much as Kobe accomplished on the court, he's accomplished so much off the court. Like, his daughter Gianna was being recruited also by like schools like UConn. She was just in Louisville not too long ago on a visit with the University of Women's Louisville team, and it was University of Louisville. Sorry, kind of having a moment, but it's just so surreal. Like, it just not only shows like how short life is, but just like, man, like Kobe was supposed to do a lot more in retirement. And the one thing that really gets me is he was enjoying retirement. Just like videos and clips of him just hanging around his family, mainly just being with Gianna. Like, you can tell that not only he enjoyed being a father, but just he enjoyed retirement. Like, you get to know a player so much when they're not playing. And it's just, we seen this guy grow up. Like, we grew up watching him. It was just like, it's still a huge loss. Like, it's just insane. Like, we get that losing a celebrity will affect you, but this was just out of left field. Like, the whole entire world, especially the basketball world, the NBA is going to be hurt for a long time.
Yeah, I completely agree, and that's how I felt too. I mean, I was about ready to watch the Pro Bowl too, and I checked my phone. I mean, I check Twitter frequently, and I saw that somebody shared the news from TMZ that Kobe Bryant had died in a helicopter crash. It's like, there's no way. I mean, that can't be real, can it? And so I just continuously like refreshed my feed over and over and over again. And then like a local news station in Los Angeles was covering it and saying that, yeah, this is actually true. This just happened. And it showed like where the smoke was in the hills in Calabasas, however you say it, outside of Los Angeles. And
Calabasas.
Calabasas, sorry. But, man, it was just so shocking to me, and it still seems shocking now. I mean, if you look at the impact, not only that he made in the NBA, but just his influence in sports culture is just completely insane. He has an entire generation of people that whenever we throw something away into the trash can, we yell Kobe before we throw it in there. And, I mean, that just shows how much of an impact he truly had. I mean, as long as I've known about basketball, I've known about Kobe Bryant. I remember watching his last game in 2016 when it happened, just seeing him get 60 points. And I'm just like, man, I don't think there's ever been anybody like Kobe Bryant. And I don't think there'll ever be anybody like Kobe Bryant as far as his mentality, that Mamba mentality, and just never quit. I mean, it was his last game. He was old. He had so many injuries in his career. And he still went out there and he gave his best, and he dropped 60 points in the Staples Center. And I think even with that being in Los Angeles, I don't think Hollywood could have written anything better than that. But, I mean, it's so humbling and so devastating at the same time to see what's happened with him passing. And another thing to remember, too, I mean, for those of you that may be older, that you may remember Kobe Bryant, but he was a long time ago. But to us that grew up watching him, I just hope you realize how significant that truly was to see him to be gone as soon as he was. I mean, it just doesn't seem right at all. But it's affected a lot of people in the sports world, even with Western. I know a lot of the players on the basketball team. I mean, I know that they're really devastated by this news. They grew up watching him. They grew up like trying to imitate his step back, trying to imitate all the different things that he would do. And this is a good quote from Carson Williams. They posted this earlier. It said, "You've got a legacy like that will live on forever. Whether it's a kid shooting baskets in the driveway saying Kobe, or a seasoned veteran trying to master that Mamba mentality." And that's what Carson Williams said on Kobe Bryant. And I know that Coach Stansberry said some things on Kobe as well, and some of the other players. But Kobe will be remembered for as long as there's the sport of basketball. Kobe Bryant's going to be remembered, and
Yes.
I'm definitely sad to see that passing, but I'm interested to see how the Lakers, the tribute that they're going to make for him. I know that it's going to be really tasteful and that there's going to be a lot of support for them. Like, the thing that makes me really sad, I mean, other than Vanessa and her 3 kids that are left behind, I can't imagine how devastating that is. But seeing Shaq on NBA on TNT the other day, just seeing him crying and everything. I mean, he knew him so well. I mean, Sharif, his son, called Kobe Uncle Kobe. I mean, that's the kind of relationship he had with his teammates and former teammates. So, I mean, let's just have like a quick moment of silence, I guess, for Kobe, and then I'll transition us into the next part of this podcast. So I'm going to try to make it for 24 seconds. So let's see. All right, thanks, you guys. I know you're not supposed to have dead air on a podcast, but I think we could do that for Kobe Bryant. He deserved it. But at least there's some good news. Alex, you're one of our main ProTops guys that covers all the stuff with all the pro players in the NFL right now. So the Pro Bowl, did you get to watch most of it, and did you get to see Jack Doyle's touchdown?
I finally got caught up with the touchdown that he got. I wasn't sure the stats he got, but it was a really good play. And I was just proud to see ProTops Nation be represented by Jack Doyle at the Pro Bowl. It was like, it's a good moment to just see someone that played football at this university, not only at the next level, but get the accolades and get the credit for playing the sport to his ability.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Because, I mean, we've had guys in the league before, which is a good thing. But to see Doyle actually be able to not only get in the Pro Bowl, but also make a difference in the game and be able to score a touchdown is also such a great feeling. I'm really happy for him. Of course, Deion Yelder with the Super Bowl this Sunday playing for the Chiefs. I would love to see him get a touchdown catch so much. Because, I mean, just his story in general is so great, going from inner city Louisville and being essentially like a walk-on, coming into Western for so many years, and then finally getting awarded a scholarship. And then from that, having an incredible senior season and joining the NFL as an undrafted free agent. And then he ends up with Kansas City, and here he is playing in the Super Bowl. I mean, that's your perfect kind of rags to riches kind of story. And I hope this is just a beginning for him. I'd love to see him get a ring because, I mean, he's a pro top. I mean, it's like family. We support him that way. But I'll go ahead and ask you. So just looking at the players that Western has this season, I mean, there's not that many going pro, but do you think we'll have any new pro tops at some point? I know it's kind of early to talk about draft stuff, but what do you think?
I feel like if D'Angelo Malone didn't stay, he definitely would have been drafted for sure. But the decision they made is actually really smart. Like, not only based on the fact that he's finishing out his education, getting his degree, but also this impacts a draft stock too. So it's like, if he has double the season that he had, or to the same extent of this past season, I feel like his draft stock is going to go up. Like, going from like a day 3 pick to probably like high in like day 2. Like, I could go 3rd round, honestly, be like a Taywan Taylor pick, but hopefully he gets serviced right to the right team. And honestly, I feel like a few of our guys might be undrafted. Like, they'll go the undrafted free agent route, go to different teams, and then just have opportunities. Like, I could definitely see Ty Story being a UDFA. Mm-hmm. Like, get a training camp invite. Also, I feel like Lucky Jackson, that's another one. He could also be an undrafted free agent. So that's the ones that is off the top of my head that I could definitely think of. Oh, and Takorian Darden. Like, I love that guy. I really do. Local product from Russellville. It's like I'm banking on him also to get a training camp invite. Man, he actually had an accolade to where he played in, I think it was the Hawaii, not the Hawaii Bowl, but it's like
it was one
game that they play in Hawaii. Yes, he got the invite. He played well from what I've seen, so it's like, you know what, he's definitely gonna get a look for sure. So it's like there's a few guys under the radar, of course, that's going to get the invites to go to training camp, but also with like players like D Malone and just other people on the team, it's like, you know, they're going to get their shot eventually. It's just, I mean, education comes first. I believe it. I respect it. And that's all I got.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, being an undrafted free agent hasn't stopped any ProTops in the past. I mean, Jack Doyle was an undrafted free agent. George Fant was an undrafted free agent. Of course, Deion Yelder now undrafted free agent. So, I mean, it just goes to show it doesn't matter where you start. It matters where you end up. So I'm definitely hoping that if we have anybody that is able to get an invite, like you said, that they make the most out of it and work their way up. But let's go ahead and go into some Lady Top news. So this past week was the Moonshine Throwdown for everybody. The guys played twice. The Lady Toppers just played Marshall once. But they pulled off the W. They won 74-65. Dee Givens had 24 points on 10 of 20 shooting. She had a pretty solid night. So did you get to see anything with the Lady Tops this past week, Alex?
I haven't seen the games. The only one I've honestly saw on TV was when the men's guys went to Huntington, but I did keep up with the women's as well. And it's like both teams, I would say this, starting with the Lady Tops, of course, they're having a really good season. Like, I feel like not only they're going to win the Conference USA tournament, but I feel like that this team might actually go some sort of a deep run into the NCAA women's tournament. Like, this is a different team from, I would like to say, from when it was the Clark Hurd eras. Of course, Clark Hurd era actually had, like, they're good superstars, their own style of play, but it's this team right now, it's really good. Like, they're really gelling together, and they're more fun to watch and keep up with as just the season progresses.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, they're doing pretty good in the conference. I mean, they're 12-6 overall in Conference USA. They're currently 4-3. I mean, that's not bad. I mean, they have a winning record in conference. I mean, Rice sits atop right now with an 8-0 record in Conference USA. They're going to be really tough to beat. They've always been pretty consistent, at least the past couple of years. And Old Dominion, they're in second place. So, I mean, they're kind of in the position right now that they're going to be fighting for that bye. I can't remember if they do the pod system or not, but they definitely need to try to get in the top four of the conference regardless. I think that's something that's definitely possible. This upcoming week, they're going to be playing both of the Florida schools, as the men are, except they'll be playing in Diddle Arena. So, Bowling Green people, come see the Lady Tops because they need your support. They play FAU at 6 o'clock on Thursday. And on Saturday, I do believe, they play FIU at 2 p.m. So be sure to come out, support the Lady Tops. I think they're doing like a 7-for-7 deal with the ticket office that you can get the last 7 home games for $7. How can you beat that? $7. I know I used to work at Starbucks. I know some of y'all spent that much on coffee and a bagel. Y'all can go see the Lady Tops for 7 games for $7. So call the ticket office, see that. Show them some respect because they're doing pretty good. I mean, Dee Givens is incredible. Of course, Raneem, she's been doing an amazing job. Whitney Creech, all of them. So go support the Lady Tops, and hopefully they can get 2 wins at home this year against the Florida schools. But moving to the men's, of course, they played the 100 Miles of Hate as well. They played Thursday against in the Huntington and was able to pull that off. That was a good win. But most recently was this Saturday where the Tops were able to actually get a lead. Like, it was the opposite of everything that they've done up to this point, that they had like a 12-point lead in the second half, and it came down to them defending the lead instead of coming back from an ungodly amount of points down in like 2 minutes. But they were able to pull off the win 91-84 against Marshall. That moves Western to 14-6 overall, Marshall 9-12. Of course, the guys are towards the top of the conference right now. They're 7-1, just half a game behind UNT, that's currently 8-1, and we beat them in Diddle Arena. I'm sure we'll have to play them again once we get into the pod play. But Dev, what did you think of the game, Alex?
Which game you want me to start with? The away fixture or the home?
Let's go to the home game.
All right. I watched a little bit of the home game, and it was just nice to keep the lead that we gotten. It was a more relaxed style of play that we went into. And then I'm going to go a little bit into the away game because I have more knowledge of the away game just because I watched the full away game.
Yeah,
I had to do some stuff. All right. The away game was just, it was one of those wins where it was just frustrating, but at the same time, like, we know what this team is capable of. The way that they battled down and came back after just the deficit that Marshall had on us after the Bennett performance, the first Bennett performance. It's just, I know that we have our criticisms on the team this season, but I feel like with each game as they win, like, they're on a really good run right now. They're on top of the conference. It's like, we got to start giving these guys the credit that they deserve, along with Stansbury. I know that Stansbury's had just some concerns with the lineup change and whatnot, but I feel like after Bazzi being down, it was going to take a while for him to get that system, work the system, tweak it a little bit, and it's going really well, especially utilizing the bench. So we're giving this team credit. I'm giving Stansbury all the credit, all the praise, and we're on a roll right now, and I would like to see where this roll takes us. Like, I feel like that this team can win the conference tournament this year the way we're playing. Like, it's so smooth, and are getting all the kinks out now. Now they're just playing their best ball. Imagine how far we would have went if Bazzi was still in the lineup, but not one player. There's no one player on this team that has a huge impact over to other. Like, everybody plays with each other. Everybody is on the same page. They have different strengths, different weaknesses, but at the end of the day, as long as we get the W, it's all that matters.
Yeah, absolutely. And thankfully, I was able to be at the game on Saturday. That was a really, really good game. It ended up being a little closer than I was hoping it would be, but they still closed it out and won by 7 points. So, I mean, I'll take that any night. It was a battle of the Tavions. That's kind of what I would expect. Of course, our Tavion Hollingsworth, he had 18 points. Tavion Kinsey for Marshall, he had 16. Jared West, I can't remember how much he had, but he was making a bunch of threes and was keeping Marshall in the game in the second half especially. You can't leave him open. I mean, he's not as good as John Elmore. Not many people are as good of a shooter that he was. But, I mean, Jared West has done a good job, even though he spells his name the wrong way, which, I mean, what can you say about that? But Jared Savage, who does spell his name the right way, he had 16 points. And Jordan Rawls had 15. He looked really, really solid on Saturday. I don't know if you got to see it, but what are you thinking about Jordan Ross so far, Alex? And do you think that he could be in conversation for maybe Conference USA Freshman of the Year?
Jared, I feel like he's getting in that conversation early, and he's making it count. He's improved from not only his minutes, because he was getting like very little minutes per game, but it's like once the season is going, Stansbury had to use him, and I feel like this time next year, he's got a solid starting role. Like, that's bold to say just from the past 5 games, but still, he's doing really good. And he's definitely opened up the conversation a lot. Like, I would be shocked if he didn't get some votes for Freshman of the Year. He definitely deserves it.
Yeah, I mean, point guard is a hard position to play anyways because, I mean, you're kind of in charge of setting the pace, setting the offense, and all of that, taking care of the ball. And he's done a really good job with that. I mean, obviously, he's had some freshman moments, as you would kind of expect. But, I mean, he was still a 4-star recruit coming out of high school. And he's done really solid so far this season. And I hope that now that he's kind of getting that confidence and getting that momentum going, that's going to help them be able to push through Conference USA play. Which, giving you the outlook again for that, is currently North Texas, then us, Louisiana Tech at 6-2, Charlotte at 6-2, and then FIU at 5-3. So that's your top 5 right now in Conference USA for men's standings. And coming up this week, the Tops will be playing Florida Atlantic and Florida International, and those are going to be some tough games. Used to, that would just be an easy walk in the park, but these teams have actually shown a lot of promise this season. I mean, FIU still hasn't lost a game at home this season. They're 9-0. They're 14-7 overall. They got a really good center in the middle that even Bassie last year when he went up against him, like I wish I could say his name right, but I don't want to completely mispronounce it. But I think it's like Osagi or something like that. But he's such a good center, and it's going to be really tough for the Tops to try to contain him in the paint. And even FAU, I mean, you can't really sleep on them either. They're 12-9 overall, 4-4 in conference. So these are going to be some tough games. They're 10-2 at home as well. So how do you see these next two home games kind of panning out? What do you think, Alex?
I feel like some way, some shape or form, we're going to finish 1-1 in Florida. Mm-hmm. I just have a gut feeling that we will. I would not say which team will win against and which team will lose to. These are the toughest road games conference-wise of the season, especially with FIU not losing a game at home. FAU has a pretty good home schedule, and I pulled up the stats on the Conference USA official page. FIU has the number one scoring offense in the conference. Western has the third highest scoring offense. Now, Florida Atlantic, with the scoring defense, they're number 7. WKU is just far behind them at number 8. So, statistically, in the conference, and just how each team has done in each game of the season, both Florida teams actually have some advantage over us just in one category. I feel like if our offense can get to a hot start, we could definitely take some names and kick some tail at it too. It's just depending on who has the bigger night and who's going to have the lesser night. But either way, I have a strong feeling that we're going to at least leave Florida with one win. I'm not too sure which team it'll be, but it'll be fun to play spoiler.
Yeah, and I think I may have said home on exit, but yeah, these two games are going to be on the road in Boca Raton and outside of Miami as well. But this is just my opinion, but I think that I agree with what you said that it'll be 1-1, but I definitely think the loss will be against Florida International. I mean, this is I don't know if I would say if they're as good as the team that we played in the Sun Belt Conference title game. That was coached by Richard Pitino, Rick Pitino's son. I don't know if you remember that game or not. That was a good game.
I do,
but,
yes.
Yeah. But, I mean, that's the last time that Florida International has been this good. And it's going to be interesting to see what they can put together. And, I mean, I think a lot of people might try to show up for that game. I mean, of course, looking at their gyms compared to, like, UTEP and ours, I mean, it's not really much of a comparison. But it can still get loud in there. They can still fill it up and have maybe a solid 2,000 or 3,000 people show up. We'll see how that turns out. So hopefully we'll have a good showing. I know that on the road it can be either hit or miss, but the game against Marshall showed a lot of promise to me. So hopefully they'll actually show up. Right now, Western is a 3-point favorite over Florida Atlantic, and they have a 60% chance of winning according to the ESPN BPI. Do you think that's fair?
Yes, it's definitely fair for what it's worth.
Yeah, I would too. And that game's going to be Thursday, 6 o'clock Central Standard Time. So I'm not sure what the TV will be on that. It's probably going to be the Stadium Facebook again. So, I mean, everybody has a Facebook. Just try to get some time to watch it. But this one will be a little hard because Saturday, when Western plays Florida International, that's going to be an 11 a.m. Central Standard Time tip-off. So that's going to be a little early. That's going to be one of the earlier games, and I assume that'll be on the Facebook live stream for Stadium as well. There won't be another nationally televised game until CBS Sports Network when the Tops come home to play Louisiana Tech. That'll be a blackout. But, I mean, if they go 1-1 in this next road trip, I think that's pretty solid, especially all things considered. That'd put them at 8-2 in Conference USA, and hopefully North Texas might choke and lose 2 games. And that could still put us in first place. So, I mean, you never know. I mean, if there's anything that I figured out about Conference USA this season is that it makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. So once you think something is going to go one way, it's going to do the total opposite of that. That's just kind of how the sport has been this year, just nationwide, looking at the top 10 as well. So, what is your prediction, I guess, up until pod play? So, Western has about maybe 5 or 7 games left in the regular season before they play the top half of the conference, more than likely. So, how would you see them faring, and do you think that they'll be able to get that first round bye in conference tournament?
Are we still considered for bonus play? Because I pulled up the schedule and we have 6 games left coming from tomorrow to February 15th.
Yeah, like after February 15th is when they'll schedule all of the bonus games. I know some will probably go into the early part of March.
Okay. I will start with this. From the 6 games, obviously, tomorrow night we got Florida Atlantic. Saturday, we have Florida International. Next Thursday, which is the 6th, we come back on to play Louisiana Tech. Also, the following Saturday will be Southern Miss. When we'll go back on the road to play UTEP in El Paso on the 13th, Valentine's Day Eve. And then the last game until bonus play is also on the road against University of Texas at San Antonio. So I feel like we can finish out 5-1. And that's my ceiling is 5-1. My floor is 4-2. And with the second loss, I feel like it'll probably be on the road to either I feel like it'll be UTSA more than likely just because UTEP has not been having a good year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, UTSA hasn't been too good either, but I mean Javon Jackson,
but I feel like
Wallace, you never know what they can do.
Yes, so that's my predictions for the final 6 games as of currently. What about you, Jared?
I definitely think that's fair. I might have my floor a little lower because I think it's possible. Well, see, this is the thing that I've understood about this team is that if I think that they are going to do, say they're going to beat some random team really well, it either ends up being a close game or a loss. And see, Ross has made the big deal saying how Southern Miss, that ought to be an easy win. But usually whenever this team thinks that they have an easy win coming up is when they kind of get in the wrong headspace and then they get kind of caught up. But I think it's easier for this team to go 5-1 with a loss against Southern Miss than it is to do anything else, just because of how crazy this season has been. Like, the Texas road trip is going to be hard. I mean, UTEP is still a really tough place to play in the conference. Sure, they've underperformed once they got into Conference USA, but they have a huge gym. And if they have any type of honored event for the national championship team against us, that sounds like something they would do. I know they've done that before. And if they have a big turnout for that game, that could be rough. UTSA, I'm not as concerned about, but I mean, Keaton Wallace and Javon Jackson, you never know what they're going to do. And usually, we've let players get hot like that before. The last time I think we played UTSA, at least the game in Diddle, I think that Javon Jackson had 40-something points, which was just insane. But, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how this turns out. I think that we'll definitely make the top pod regardless, unless we just absolutely peed on our legs, as Jake would always say. But I'm really
doesn't
hoping,
happen.
Yeah, I think all of it. There's no way that I would see this team winning 4 games in 4 days because I mean Stansbury doesn't go as deep into his bench as we would hope that he would have to in a situation like that. So I think if we get that first round bye, I think we'll be all right. And it'll be interesting to see how the conference tournaments goes. I mean, obviously we'll talk a little bit closer to it once we have more details and it's a little bit closer to time. But I'm definitely excited for these next few games. This road trip to Florida definitely piques my interest. That's going to be a little closer than most people might think it might be. We'll see. But we'll go ahead and go kind of into the last part of the segment. We might finish up a little early tonight because, I mean, I have church stuff. I'm a musician. I got to go get ready by 7:30. But looking at the Super Bowl and everything this Sunday, of course, this is the magnum opus of football, I guess you can say. I mean, it gets so many viewers. I mean, everybody around the world just kind of gathers together, well, at least in the United States, and gathers together to watch the big game. But I got to ask you, what's your prediction for the Super Bowl? Who you got winning, and do you have a score prediction for it?
I got a crazy prediction. I mean, my motto is never root for the same conference unless it's a team that absolutely, I feel like, is equipped to win. I mean, me trying to be the level-headed Titans fan that I am, I do want to give Kansas City a chance. But also I feel like San Francisco is definitely going to pull out the win. They have a very, very strong defense. And of course, defense wins championships. So I'm going with that. It's going to be a close one, though. It's going to be, I will go as far as to say that it'll be a 38-35 game. And it's all going to come down to the fourth quarter. Like, sure, the first half will start out a little slow, but I feel like once the nerves shake off, second quarter will have a few good plays. Third quarter is when everything's going to start.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you got San Francisco. I'm sure Jake would be really proud of you for saying that. Of course, he's our big Niners fan with all of this. And see, so this is what I've done with every single one of the playoff games. Whoever I predicted to win was the one that lost. So I don't know why it always works like that. I don't know if I'm under some type of weird sports curse right now with the NFL. Because, I mean, first of all, Jake, if you're listening to this, congratulations on your team being in a Super Bowl and you actually being alive to witness it. Because as a Dolphins fan, I mean, it's in Miami, so congratulations. But that's about as close to a Super Bowl as we're going to get anytime soon. But
I mean, we could have had Tannehill playing this week if we beat Kansas City. So,
do you have any idea how upset I would be if Tannehill was playing in the Super Bowl, though, after we traded him for basically like nothing? I mean, I would definitely be happy for all the Titans fans if they were able to pull that off. But Kansas City looks pretty good right now, and I think that they are the team to beat. But by me thinking that they're going to be the better team, then I have San Francisco winning this game 34-28 because sports. I mean, you never know what's going to happen. I still want to see Deion Yelder get a big catch or a touchdown or something like that.
So do I.
Yeah. That would be great if he could pull that off. But like you said, I mean, San Francisco's defense has been extremely underrated this entire season. And, I mean, everybody makes a big deal out of Mahomes and all the speed that they have in Kansas City. But, I mean, usually offenses take a little bit longer to kind of develop in a Super Bowl. We saw that last year with the Rams. They were putting up such huge numbers and everything. And then once they got to the Super Bowl, it was hard for them to do anything that they would normally do. And I think that'll probably happen to the Chiefs as well. So that's why I got San Francisco winning this game. Do you think that's fair?
Yes, that's fair. Jake is going to be proud. And my mom, hi, Mom. She's going to be listening to this. She's a huge Niners fan. So if I didn't root for her, then basically I would catch all sorts of heck for it.
Yeah, I feel that. So, Jake, if the Niners do lose, you can fully blame me because I picked them to win. So you can use me as your scapegoat. I really hope that you do. Because, I mean, if I can't have the Dolphins even make the playoffs, then I'll just curse other people's teams when they actually do make the playoffs. So we'll see how that turns out. But, man, just a curious question. Have you ever been to Miami before, Alex?
I haven't. Like, I've only been to Florida once, and it was Pensacola, which is a pretty nice town. I've been there for a Habitat for Humanity build in college, but it's a pipe dream to go to Miami at least once. I mean, just what I hear from other people, what I've seen from D. Furby stories, it should be a fun trip.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like thankfully, I don't know if you've heard this or not, but me and Matt McKay and his wife, we all went down to Miami when Western played in the Miami Beach Bowl in 2015. That was the year that we
I remember you telling me that.
And played South Florida with Willie Taggart. Man, it's so beautiful. Like at the place that we both stayed at, they were at a hotel right next to mine. I was at the Styles Hotel, and the place that you see in South Beach all the time, like where they have all the stuff, like the ESPN studios and all of that set up, it's right on the main drag of South Beach outside of Lummus Park, which is the nice, really green and luscious park that they have. And seeing all of that, with it being like 30 degrees, makes me want to go back so bad. Because, I mean, you see all of this on TV, and it's just like, man, that's got to be really nice. But another thing with it being in Miami is that I'm going to be really disappointed with the halftime show because it will never be as good as my all-time favorite Super Bowl halftime, and that was when Prince played in Miami when it was the Colts and the Bears. I want to say it was. I think it was like 2006, 2007. That's still the most iconic Super Bowl halftime performance of all time. Him playing Purple Rain, with the lights all purple as it's torrential downpour during the halftime show. And he played live too. Like, I looked up a video on YouTube. Like, a lot of times, like, as a musician, I can say this, you are too, so you know this, how this works, is that with any type of big performance, I mean, they're going to do tracks mostly. Like, some of the vocals will be lives, but all the instrumentals, for the most part, that's going to be previously recorded. I mean, not because that they can't do it, obviously, but just because of how big of a nightmare it is to set up a stage and all the sound stuff that fast, and then to make sure that it all works right. But Prince, everything that he did in that Super Bowl halftime was live, and the sound people hated him for it because, I mean, it was literally raining water on his guitar while he's playing and singing and doing all of this stuff. But him playing it live just made it that much better, and to me, that's still my favorite halftime show. Do you have a favorite halftime show that you remember?
I would have to go on the fence of just, it's all, I mean, I've never been a fan of halftime shows personally, just because, but Prince was really a good one. I have to go with Prince because I don't know. It's like, it just depends on the artist with me. Like, I'm pretty sure Jennifer Lopez and Shakira will do a good job, of course, but that's just where I'm at with it. It's like, it is not because of like the not because of the artist, whatever. Like, I don't mean to discredit the artist. It's just, I feel like I'm an anxious person. Like, in that moment, especially my favorite teams playing the Super Bowl, I would just rather them do like a 20-minute break and that's it. But my favorite part would have to be the commercials. I will substitute the halftime show for commercials.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see how well they'll be this year. I really hope there's some funny ones. Do you have a favorite Super Bowl commercial that you remember?
When I was a kid, they were the Budweiser commercials with the frogs and all that, just because it was back when Budweiser was actually popular. Like, it's still popular, but it's like the commercials like just went from just giddy and cartoonish, but till like the Clydesdales, which I enjoy the Clydesdales a lot. And another one that has been going good over the past few years is the Doritos. Like, I never thought Doritos would make some interesting commercials, but here I am. Like, it's really nice.
Yeah, they've definitely upped their game. Those are some of the funniest to me for whatever reason. They've done a really solid job with that. But hopefully everything will go well with the Super Bowl. There won't be any wild things that have happened before. If so, then that'll just be another thing to talk about on the podcast. I mean, whether it's like the power going out like it did in New Orleans when the Super Bowl was down there, or one of the the famous wardrobe malfunction that happened however many years ago that was. I remember that. Oh, good Lord. But yeah. Go ahead.
Imagine if Twitter was around during the Janet Jackson, Justin Timberlake performance. Just imagine if social media was just around. Like, oh my
Twitter literally would have exploded. Like, their servers would have been down. There's no other way. And also, like, if they took a screenshot of when it happened or a picture of their TV when it happened, I mean, that's basically like nudity. And all of that would be going around on the internet. So that would have been an absolute disaster. So thankfully, back then, there wasn't any of that. I do remember seeing that, but man, that was such a wild thing. But hopefully it'll be a good game for both teams, and it'll be a better Super Bowl than last year. I mean, I'm just glad that it's not the New England Patriots. Thank you, Lord God in heaven, for them not being at the Super Bowl this year.
Because, Lord God, and thank the Tennessee Titans. Y'all are welcome. Y'all are welcome, America. Too. Yes.
See, we were in this together.
Yes. Dolphins, like, I feel like the Dolphins are going to have a better year next year. Like, I still don't know who are y'all going to select for quarterback, but I feel like y'all are going to improve. Like, this is my wild conspiracy theory. Patriots dynasty is obviously going to fall. Jets may improve, but I feel like the top two teams might be the Dolphins and the Bills coming out of the AFC East.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm really hoping not only do they have like 5 draft picks in the first 3 rounds, but the Dolphins also have almost $100 million in free cap space that they'll be able to use and hopefully fill a bunch of needs that they have. I mean, obviously, I would love to see the Dolphins actually be playoff contenders. That is something I've yet to see in my lifetime, except for one season. But I mean, it is what it is. You understand that feeling. I mean, the Titans
Yes,
are on the rise
yes.
right now, and I'm happy for you guys because, I mean, as
Yes.
a Dolphins fan, I would love to feel that way too. But do you have
And y'all
anything
will.
else?
Like, I would love to see y'all succeed. Like, it just takes. I will say this: coming from a Titans fan, we had not to toot our own horn, but I will go on a humble note.
You ought to.
We had to scrape for an off season, not to mention the general manager to fill the team's needs, get the right personnel in there. So it's like you guys have the most cap space in the league. I feel like it's number one, right? Number one in the league.
It's either number 1 or number 2. I know it's up there.
Y'all are gonna get some home run free agent picks, like because that much money is like y'all are gonna pay the right people to come, and it's just like Flores is a good coach. Like, don't get me wrong, he's learned for the best, and he is a good coach. I feel like he will turn this around. He did not get enough credit for the season that y'all had. Like, easily, everybody was calling the Dolphins was just tank ready, tanking for a quarterback, da 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 da. But there were some games where y'all just looked completely lethal, and it's just it all goes to coaching. Like, not every coach is gonna have that storybook movie Hollywood first year Super Bowl championship like everybody thinks they will, but it just takes years. So it's like, I mean, the shelf life of an NFL team is not going to be like the New England Patriots being good for consistent number of years. Like, it's going to be one team this year, then one team the next. Like, it's all fluid. It just depends on the personnel you have and the everything that y'all have. So I feel like the Dolphins are going to turn around. It's going to turn around soon. It's going to be a glorious moment.
Yeah, thankfully the season ended on a high note. We actually beat the Patriots in Foxborough, and I think it's still so hilarious that we cost them a first-round bye. That's what they get. If you're a Patriots fan and you're listening to this, I don't feel sorry at all. Even our beloved Todd Stewart, the athletic director of Western, he is a Patriots fan, and I know that that's a good model to have, is to kind of model the success that they've been able to have. But at the same time, I'm glad the Dolphins were able to get that win. That meant a lot after a year
Yes.
that wasn't very good at all. But Alex, you got anything else that you want to talk about?
No, I'm good, man. I think I rambled for a while on some things, but it's just good. Like, thank you for having this podcast. Also, just it's been great. Me and you just been doing this, and shout out to Devin for the check-in.
Yeah, I really hope that his daughter in the future comes back and listens to this podcast. just because, I mean, that's kind of a unique thing because, I mean, we were born before like social media and stuff like this really existed, that you wouldn't really have any type of moments from the actual moment or day that you were born. So, I mean, other than some pictures in the hospital and stuff like that. But Devin,
Yes.
definitely thinking about you and Kara and the baby. Y'all stay healthy. Y'all stay safe. Take care of each other. But
Yes.
yeah, I don't have anything else either. I'm just looking forward to a good game on Saturday, hopefully. And of course, the Tops this Thursday and this Saturday, the Lady Tops will be playing in Digital Arena. So I'll try to make plans to come see them if you're in the area. Also, the guys will be on the road in Florida. You should be able to see those games on the Facebook Live streaming for Stadium once again. And lots of good things going on. We'll just hopefully see how things turn out for the guys and the Lady Tops alike. And as always, go Tops.
Go Tops.